Anything can happen in a fairy tale or rhyme when we say the magic words, once upon a time. Once upon a time, not long ago and not very far from here, our friends had been waiting for their banana tree to arrive. They had assembled everything they needed. Grace, Anders, Heron all had boots and shovels, and the parents all had boots and shovels. And they had decided to plant the banana tree in the place where the two roofs would harvest all of that water. Now, instead of planting the tree right where the water would go, they built a bowl there to collect the water. A huge hole was the plan. They were going to fill that with wood chips to create a sponge to soak up the water, and then they would plant the banana tree on the edge of that kind of bowl or tank that could hold the water. Everyone was so excited. Beep, beep, went a horn from in front of the house, and everyone threw their arms up and ran to meet the truck that came with the tree. They had ordered a humongous banana tree. Two workers wheeled the banana tree to the backyard where the group was going to start digging. And then Brooke came. Brooke is the rainwater and gray water specialist that helps people to build these systems. Brooke was very excited. She said, "Kids, we're going to have to build a very large hole. Are you ready?" And a little voice went up from the back of the crowd. "Ready," said Audra. Now, Audra is Heron's little sister. She is only 2. She had a little shovel and she was ready to dig, but she isn't really strong enough. So Heron and Anders and Grace all started, and Thalia, they all started digging and digging and digging, and the parents were digging. Oof, it was hard work. Everyone was getting very tired, but they kept working, and Audra tried to work. She tried to get her little shovel, and she tried to be helpful. She was playing in the mud. And so once they got the hole really deep, they were able to set the banana tree down into a hole near the big hole, and they covered it up with soil. And Audra said, "I want to help more." And the parents said, "Well, it's time for us all to go in and have lunch." "No, no, no," she said, as 2-year-olds sometimes do. And so her mother said, "Dear Audra, why don't you water the new banana tree? It's very thirsty." So she handed Audra the watering can, which she took with both hands and a big smile, because she was going to water the new banana tree. They all went in to have some nice lunch until they started to hear crying. "Ma, ma, ma." Heron came out to see what was the problem with Audra. "What's wrong?" Audra said, "I can't find the banana's mouth. It's so thirsty." And Heron said, "Oh, dear Audra, we water the roots of a tree, but then how does it get to the leaves?" Heron wasn't quite sure. He said, "Don't worry, Audra, it will get to the leaves. You just water the roots that are under the soil." Okay, she said. So Heron went in and asked Brooke, how does the rest of the tree get the water? And Brooke said, it's the xylem. The xylem draws the water up through the trunk of the tree and sends it out to the leaves. Heron had never heard that word before, xylem. So they went out when another truck came. This truck was full of wood chips. They all had to take buckets and shovels and get all of the wood chips off the back of the truck. And of course, at some point, someone was throwing wood chips, and that was a little crazy. And they took all the wood chips to the backyard and filled them into the big tank that they had built to create that sponge, so that when the water fell off of the roof, it would go into that trough. Then there was the task of changing the plumbing to the washing machine. So Brooke and the parents were handling that, and the kids were sitting around the deep trough looking at the wood chips, not quite sure how it was going to work out. Grace said, I think I'm still going to have to bring a bucket of water from home sometimes. I think that this tree is too thirsty. And Heron said, you know, Brooke said that the tree will be able to take the water up through the xylem, and it will get into the rest of the tree, and it'll draw the water from this tank. I don't think you're going to have to bring a bucket. She thought about a bucket of water, and she thought about how hot she was, and she said, come on, let's go play water. So they ran off, and that allowed the parents to actually open up the wall and bring a pipe from out of the garage, and they dug a trench from the garage to the tank, and they put a big pipe there and the filter into the trough, and that way they were able to allow the washing machine water to come into that tank and to water the banana tree each time they do laundry. After they had played water, the kids came back and looked at the pipe, and they said, wow, bananas for everyone! And if things have not changed, they are still the same today. Anything can happen in a fairy tale or rhyme when we say the magic words, once upon a time. X. X is for xylem. Xylem are the vessels in a vascular plant or a tree that pull water up from the roots and distribute the water throughout the plant. Xylem.